Bert, I owe you an apology.
Ooh.
Well, stop. Everything stop. Stop. But it sounds like a setup.
No, it's really not.
Is this about the one-handed Post Malone?
Oh, no, I stand by that. I stand by the one-handed postie. So I had this revelation on air yesterday, and it turns out I've been, I don't know if deflecting's not the right word. I've been displacing my feelings about something that I had from the past onto you, and it's not been fair. Because I've been highly annoyed by something, and now I've gotten to the bottom of the why.
Yeah, I know where this is coming from because I got a couple of DMs about it yesterday.
Of course you did, because people love to
I was
tattle.
hoping we was going to get you to guess.
Now he knows.
Yep. So your e-bike has been in studio for 18 months now.
A little bit of exaggerating.
Is that what you said on the air yesterday?
I said 2 months, and then we did the math, and it was 4, and we were on vacation for a week, so technically 3, but whatever. And it has been oddly irksome to me, to the point like I reached out to your assistant to be like, can we get this out of here? I know he's busy. He's always got stuff to do after the show. He hasn't been able to get it into his truck. I understand that. Anyway, we can try to facilitate it out of here, right? And it's like every day it's in here, it just builds. And like it just builds. And like, why do I have such resentment against this bike?
Now, I want to set the picture for you guys that are listening right now. So this bike that I have, this e-bike that I have, sits behind me in the corner of a studio that nobody else comes into, except maybe Kaylee and Tommy from time to time, if they have to squeeze by me and do something on the computer where it's busted or something. But Kristin doesn't come anywhere near it. It's not like...
I come near it every single day when I'm throwing my stuff away, and I was over there by it yesterday when I hosted the show.
Well, move the trash can.
It's lighter than the bike.
And it was,
Yeah, right.
it was also in the way when we took a group photo once.
Okay. All right.
It was in the way that one time.
Yeah,
That
right.
one time.
That one time. And then we moved it.
All right. So
Yeah.
the trash can she's talking about, by the way, is 6 inches by 6 inches. So it can be moved to your side. I don't ever use it, so you can move that. So
Fair.
as a general statement, it is not in the way of anybody.
Correct.
All morning long.
You
So
are
go ahead.
accurate.
Yeah.
You're accurate.
Which
But-
is why there's been no rush for me
Yes.
to get it out of
Yeah.
here.
So I'm trying, like, we were talking about yesterday, because I gave everybody the homework assignment. We're doing the journal, and where everybody...
Uncomfortable journal.
The uncomfortable journal. We all have to write stuff down. If anybody, because apparently like 90% of employees have an issue, like not an issue with the coworker, but has a coworker that will annoy them or something happens. Like every single day you're annoyed by a coworker, right? So we're just supposed to keep this log, and we're going to share on Friday.
Yeah, we had this. Me and Abby had the same.
yeah, we were
reaction.
like, this
It is.
is not
a good idea.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not a good idea. I think it would make great content. But
Yeah.
as I'm rolling over in my mind, I don't think that there's anybody here that bugs me every single day.
There's little things that you probably don't think of and you brush aside.
Yeah.
But anytime anybody does anything, you're supposed to mark it, no matter how big or how small, on air, off air, and you're supposed to bring to the table on Friday.
Okay.
Abby and I came to the conclusion that this was Kristin's way to get off some things that she was
Yeah.
wanting to get off.
We're like, why
Oh.
don't we just have a segment where you just tell us what's up?
Yeah.
And that's when we started talking about the bike.
We're like, we're over here like, don't involve us.
But as I'm talking about it, all of a sudden, it's like this memory that I had suppressed comes flashing like a movie, like the movie coming on, and now it's on my brain screen, like the big screen brain screen, and I can see myself in my townhouse in Raleigh, North Carolina, when I moved there to do morning radio, and the bike that was in the dining room for what felt like an eternity. And I was like, oh my God, I have bicycle PTSD, which is why I'm freaking taking this out on Bert.
Now, I want to dig a little bit deeper here on the bike in the living room. So
Yeah.
was that in the way next to where you were eating? You could see?
Yes, it was in the dining room.
Got it.
So it was a townhouse, and you had like a small dining room area, and you had a small living room area. And, you know, I was young, you're trying to save money. Why not move in with the girl who works in promotions at the radio station who I don't even know? That makes total sense, right? She needed a place to live. I had an extra bedroom. Let's save some cash. So she moves in, and, you know, I had met her. She seemed sweet. She seemed quiet. And let's just say the two of us did not mesh.
Okay.
Some people you are compatible with as a roommate, others you are not. And she and her boyfriend were avid bike riders, and she would leave, and it was a nice bike, much like yours, this upscale, like mountain bike or whatever, but it was constantly up against the wall in the dining room.
Mm-hmm.
And I had family coming into town, and we were going to do, I can't remember what holiday it was, Thanksgiving something, so we were going to eat in the dining room. I took that bike and I moved it to the storage unit out on the patio, the back patio, right? We had a decent sized storage unit, and I moved the bike in there, made sure it wasn't like, I wasn't rough with the bike. I didn't mess with the bike, and she got pissed.
She got big mad.
She got big mad that A, I touched her bike,
Okay.
and B, I put it in that storage shed.
Okay, so let's stop there for just 1 second. Were you the person a couple of weeks ago that took the bike out of the studio and put it into the hall?
Yes.
Okay. I was pissed too.
Yeah, I knew it.
Maybe we do need that journal.
Right?
All right. I didn't realize at the time it was you, but I brought it right back in.
Yes, but that's because you were out for the podcast, and I was over there doing the show, which is why I moved it.
Okay. So you had to move it out of the studio and not just to where you would normally sit.
Well, now I'm getting to the bottom of it, which is why I'm apologizing to you. I have all this animosity towards the bike, but it's not your bike. It's what happened in the past that's bringing up all those memories. And now I'm like, oh, girl, calm the fuck down. Like, now I get, like, it all of a sudden clicked as to why it was getting underneath my skin so bad, because we were in a shared space, much like the studio is a shared space. And I felt like my space, I was being disrespected because this is a shared space and you're just deciding to, take it over with your large item.
Okay. I accept that apology.
There you go.
And I would like to apologize to you as well.
And that is for what?
Because yesterday when I got a few DMs from Bert Show listeners that had said that you were verbally said on the air that you were upset about the bike, I apologize for calling the e-bike place in Sandy Springs to see if I could rent 3 of them and bring them in studio and just sit them right by where you sit.
That's hysterical.
I find it hysterical that they told you that, but they also didn't tell you the rest of the break, which we talked about on air yesterday, where I said, oh my God, I'm overreacting. This is from my past. I literally said all this yesterday to the listeners that I was overreacting about the bike, but they decided not to pass on that tidbit of information.
Duh.
That's how it works.
That's literally how it always goes. They
Every
take the
time.
most dramatic part and then
Right?
relay it to the other person so it makes it look 10 times worse.
You didn't even get half the story. You got like a quarter of the story that was told on air yesterday.
I even had these guys at the e-bike place ready to come over here and deliver the bikes while we were on the air.
You're serious?
Until I pulled the trigger and I said, no, I can't do it. I can't.
That's funny.
Yeah, that would have been something when I was like, I literally just said I was overreacting and I shouldn't have, I should have calmed my tits down. Like,
Yeah.
what is happening here?
They didn't share that part.
Yeah, okay. But
They didn't share
if you'd
that
like to listen to the segment, it's on the
No,
Bert Show
I trust you,
podcast.
and I accept your apology.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
The Bert Show.